Ciao everyone, buongiorno and welcome back to Crave Italy, your bridge between Italy and America. We are excited to welcome back Viola Buitoni, celebrated chef instructor and food writer, sharing her passion for Italian cuisine. Just in time for the holidays, Viola brings the flavors, stories and word that makes Italian food so special. Viola, a te la parola.
Hello, Samantha, and thank you for having me on Crave again. It's a pleasure to be here as always. And we are leading up to the holidays. What does that mean for someone like me who works in the kitchen? That means that I have a lot of work and I am cooking a lot professionally. So sometimes I come home at night and the last thing I want to do is spend more than like 5-10 minutes making dinner. And I have the perfect trick for that. So let's talk about it. What I like to make is something that I call pizzette. You might know it as crostini. What are the advantages of pizzette? Well, they take very little time and you can always vary them because all you need is some bread and a refrigerator. So what I do is I take the bread, generally it's stale bread because again, over the holidays, I'm too busy and I don't have time to go shop for fresh bread, but once a week. So I take my stale bread, I cut a couple of slices. I usually consider 1 to 2 slices per person. I go into my refrigerator. First, I open the cheese box to see what cheese I have. I'm looking for something that's melty and delicious and has a lot of flavor. And then I look through the vegetables or condiment area or whatever it is that I've cooked in the last few days that I have left over. So as it happens today, as I was looking through my refrigerator, I found a delicious melty cheese, which is called Pleasant Ridge Reserve. Is a little bit like, kind of like a mild cheddar. And nice and melty. I always have tomato paste with me, which I diluted with some warm water. I also have some nice gorgonzola. Here it is. It is a creamy, melty gorgonzola. And then I also happen to have some sauteed porcini. They can be anything. They can be mushrooms. They can be squash. They can be other vegetables. Everything tastes better with gorgonzola. So what do I do? First of all, I turn on the oven. And you want to be at about 350. And then I take a pan and I line it with some parchment paper. And the first thing I want to do is I actually want to put some olive oil on the parchment paper because that makes the crostini very tasty, the pizzette very tasty on the bottom as well. And after that is just a tiny bit of salt. Also on the bottom. Then I take my 2 slices, here they are, and I'm going to put it on the tray. That's made directly on the tray, so I don't even have to worry about a lot of cleanup. So let's do the tomato ones first. I'm going to take all my tomato paste that has been diluted with warm water. I'm going to put it on one of the slices of bread. And then I'm also going to spread it as well as I can all over. What else goes on to this? Well, let's see. We said we were going to do this nice melty cheese, Pleasant Ridge Reserve. This is a very flavorful cheese, therefore I'm not going to add any salt other than what's in the bottom. But I am going to add some nice cut up black olives. These are Kalamata. Of course, you can use whatever you have. They could be green olives. They could be capers if you don't have olives. Or it could also even be nothing if you have neither. And I also always like a bit of oregano on my tomato pizzette. So this is some dried oregano, really good dried oregano from Sicily. Last but not least, some pepper. All right, here is pizzetta number 1. Number 2, it's got the gorgonzola. So let's go with the gorgonzola on here. I am going to make sure again that it's spread to every corner of the bread. You don't necessarily need a lot of it. It can be a thin layer, but make sure that it goes all over so that you don't get the super dry crust when you're done with this. All right. And then on top of that, of course, my porcini. These are sauteed with just a little bit of olive oil, garlic, some red pepper. And I also like to make these a little spicy, so let's put a bit more red pepper, sorry. And just to finish it off, I'm going to put some thyme because there's actually is some thyme in the cooking of the pizzetta. These off they go into the oven, not before having had a little bit of olive oil on them. Okay, off they go into the oven, say bye-bye, 350. These are only going to take probably about 10 minutes, no more. I already made some so that you can see them, and I also cut them in half because this way each of you can have one of each kind. So these are the ones with the cheese and olives and tomato, and these are with the porcini and gorgonzola. And they do tend to get, you know, a little bit crunchy and not so beautiful. So you always want to plate them in something really artistic like this one. This is this plate with little birds, so that you are going to eat with your eyes first. It doesn't matter that your pizzette don't look that good because the plate is so pretty anyway, you're not even going to notice. What else can you have with this? Well, just a little salad or a big salad, maybe some vegetables and a nice glass of white wine. And that is your super fast dinner for when you're working in the kitchen a lot and don't feel like you want to put more than 5 minutes into dinner. Thank you so much. I will see you soon, next week, in fact, for our holiday edition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Viola. I can't wait to have you back next week. This season of Crave Italy is brought to you in partnership with the Consul General of Italy and the Italian Culture Institute of San Francisco. With their support, we celebrate tradition, promote the Italian language, and highlight innovation that connects Italy and America. To learn more and explore upcoming events, visit their official websites. And now it's time for L'Angolo della Lingua Italiana. Arianna, a te la parola.
Ciao a tutti e bentornati al 13° episodio di Crave Italy all'Angolo della Lingua Italiana. Per questa settimana, for this week, we will be discussing a few Italian dolci, which means sweets, that Italians tend to consume around Natale, Christmas. I am sure that you have seen some of these dolci in America, as they have recently been made available abroad. I would say within the last 5 to 10 years. Now, the first dolce we will be talking about is panettone. Panettone is a tall, dome-shaped sweetbread that originates from Milano. It is traditionally stuffed with candied frutta, fruits, and raisins. The frutta is typically orange, lemon zest, and citron. Another dolce that is commonly eaten around Natale is pandoro. The word pandoro itself actually translates to golden bread, which is a pretty accurate description for this dolce. Pandoro is a star-shaped cake known for its soft, light, and buttery texture. It is traditionally covered in a dusting of powdered sugar, and it originates from Verona. Now, although these are the original flavors, both panettone and pandoro are actually now produced in a variety of different flavors, such as al cioccolato, chocolate flavored, or al pistacchio, pistachio flavored. The last dolce I wanted to share with you all is torrone. Torrone is a nougat dolce made from honey, sugar, and egg whites. It also typically contains toasted almonds, hazelnuts, or pistachios. Torrone can also be morbido, soft, or duro, hard, depending on which region of Italy it is from. Cremona tends to produce the classic duro torrone, whereas regions such as Sardegna and Abruzzo make a more morbido torrone. I have included pictures of these dolci on my poster so you can get a better idea of what they look like and what they contain. That's all I have for you today. I hope to see you all again next week. Arrivederci!
This segment is brought to you by Mona Lisa Marimonti, a stunning Italian restaurant in San Francisco, California, where tradition meets elegance. Let's take a quick look.
Welcome Mona Lisa Maremondi, la vera cucina italiana, autentica, mediterranea. Abbiamo una cucina stupenda con homemade pasta, original from South Italy, the steakhouse and real seafood fresh. Abbiamo il pesce fresco, qua si mangia all'italiana. Mona Lisa Maremondi, 414 Colombo. Vi aspettiamo, buon appetito. Venitemi a trovarmi, grazie.
Up next, an inspiring story for all the animal lovers out there. Our guests, Maximilian Maksutovic and co-founder Praful, built Sarama, a smart collar that helps reveal how dogs feel, think, and communicate. Max is always a big supporter of Italian-American community and Crave Italy, and like us, he brings innovation with the heart. Max and Praful, welcome to the show.
Very happy to be here.
Nice to meet you. So let's start right away. What inspired you to create Sarama and connect technology with understanding dogs' emotions?
Yeah, so back in the pandemic was the first time I didn't have a company, consulting, or whatever. And I was living with my parents because of the pandemic. I had gone back for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then kind of got stuck there. And so while I wanted to come back, I ended up working with this nonprofit on dolphin communication, to be honest. And so that ended up becoming a very interesting part of my research during the time. I ended up also understanding how they're doing all of the research, how they're doing a lot of the machine learning. And then as I was talking to my co-founder, my other co-founder, and now we're married as well, she said, it's great that you're telling me a lot about dolphins, but, our dog Kai was barking. She's like, can you just tell me what Kai is saying? I ended up talking to some few friends. Max was actually part of this entire discussion at the time because he was working on something else, and I was telling him, hey, I'm thinking about doing this dog communication. So Max and other friends very much encouraged me to take the leap of faith. And then from there, we built a research lab. From the research lab, we hired some really cool people to help build this out. And then from there, we started building hardware. And that's when Max started getting involved because Max's background is in hardware, audio engineering, iOS engineering. Basically, all the skills we were missing on making this a commercial product, at that point, it was mostly a research project.
So I guess you guys are a big animal lovers.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
I have two dogs, 2 cats, fish, a bunch of animals, and I've grown up with animals my whole life as well.
Max, how does the smart collar work, and what kinds of signal can it actually read from a dog?
Yeah, so basically there was a lot of academic data collected. So you had professors and researchers who work with animals and were able to kind of elicit specific emotions. It's like agitation, like loneliness, like playfulness, and basically capture those barks, whines, snorts, what we call vocalizations, right? All the various sounds that dogs can make. And so they collected this huge data set. And so we took that data set, and then in addition, in 2023, we made our own data set with thousands of users here in the Bay Area. And that was trying to fill in the gaps from various breeds, right? Because some breeds are more vocal than others, have specific kinds of vocalizations than others. But anyway, regardless, we took all this data sets and then we made an AI model that can identify 3 core emotions: playful, agitated, and lonely. And so when the dog has a vocalization, we will detect if it's one of these 3. And right now it's around 90% plus accurate, and we're increasing that accuracy as we go. So that's the first part, right? So very 3 core things. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's talking or, translating dogs, right? So where it gets interesting is that you as, as the dog parent, as the vocalization happens, right? So maybe the doorbell is rung, right? A lot of dogs panic or get agitated when the doorbell is rung and they run to the door. You can type in our app and say, hey, this vocalization was because the doorbell was rung. And then so this is what we call, in the AI world, we call context. You're adding information about what happened here, right? And so when you add that context, now we then that model we have now that's now trained on that specific thing for your specific dog, right? So then instead of just seeing agitated when that bark happens again, you're going to see doorbell rung, stranger, some, the regarding the context around that. Does that make sense?
Wow, that's that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and so basically, as you add additional context, now we can start to build an actual vocabulary. And the real, like this is what really blew me away,
Wow.
right? Is that because only 3 core motions, right? And then for most of us, when we hear our dogs barking, they sound about the same, right?
Yeah.
And this is why, like, without AI, this was never possible. But when you analyze an agitated bark from being hungry versus an agitated bark from being the doorbell, when you look at it from the data perspective, like what the AI model is seeing it, it's so vastly different. And when I
Wow.
saw that, I'm like, okay, this is real, right? And like that's what makes this really magical. And that's why, as the dog parent, as you add more and more context to what's going on, you can start to really, get a very complex translation happening.
You see dogs they barking, but there is not really a reason. Like
Yes.
example, my dog sometimes barks. I say, okay, there is no one in the door. What's going on? And I don't know why he barks. So, but it's interesting this
So
kind of yeah.
yeah, we could help out here is because Max also built out something where if you don't know, you could record their video, upload it to our system, and then we could analyze that to see where we could get better and better context. So this also helps out in understanding health and behavior along with translation. But our core thing is, can we create translation? And so Max built like a lot of stuff, Max and Atharva, our other co-founder, to really, really make this all happen.
Yeah, and then sorry, and you asked what other signals, and so a part of our, part of the collar too is health tracking. So that's something that's very important for us, right? And as you probably know, as a dog parent, right, when something goes wrong medically with your pet, it usually happens very quickly, right? But the thing is that often the signs are actually much slower moving in the beginning, but they're very hard to see, right? And so that's what's so nice about having this collar on your dog, is that we can monitor their activity levels, their pulse, to then and their gait patterns to see, oh, maybe something's happening. They're losing, mobility here, things like this, and we can alert you before it becomes this acute big problem you have to rush to the veterinarian for.
What is something surprising you have learned about dogs or about owners through this technology?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is that as dogs realize that you can understand them, then they'll start to create more variation with the way that they interact with us. And so this is very obvious when you talked about dogs that press buttons. They start to use the buttons and then they start to use it in very complex ways. You see similar things with behavior and vocalization. So to put this in very concrete terms, when I'm in the house, the dogs will bark a lot. They'll jump around. They're very excited. But if I leave, like go on vacation or see somebody, and or Abby is at home, then they're very silent. And so the way they interact with us changes based on how we interact back with them and what we respond to. And the other thing that we found is that when we talk about from the dog parent point of view, they want the best for their dogs often, obviously. But what ends up happening is that there's a disconnect. And you see the same thing with new parents and children, where they will get very anxious when they leave home, or they'll, start to feel bad or guilty. And then their dogs will feel that way because their dogs go, wait, there's something wrong. This person's leaving me because something went wrong. And so then they'll reinforce that behavior, and it gets worse and worse. Or in the other case, it can get better. If you go calmly, then they'll stay calm. If you walk outside and you bring back a treat with you when you come in,
Right.
then they get excited. So the way that we interact is the way that they end up developing their personality. Obviously, there's an innate version, and then we could express that further or less based on how we interact with them.
And also it's amazing because people that are working, they also can check, their dog at home by themselves. They can just go on the app, correct? And they can just see how, they're doing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and so because we intentionally on the collar don't have a camera, right? We just have a microphone because privacy is very important for us. However, we're working with companies that have camera monitors, or people who have that sort of system in their home, that we could interface with that, so that when a vocalization is detected, then we can you could pop up and see the camera feed and see, oh, okay, what's going on.
I was talking about the people with the camera, because I have a camera, so I can see what's going on, right?
Yes, exactly. And so getting it where like a vocalization's happening, some sort of issue happens, then you can get monitored and see what's happening with your loved one.
For someone using Sarama for the first time, how can it alter the relationship with their dog?
Yeah, so essentially, what we're trying to do is just, at the very core of it is just to help you understand when there's vocalizations happening, and like what is the kind of emotion happening. Because it's interesting for me, as I'd say, I've been very passionate about dogs, but I've never owned a dog. I've never had one as a family member before.
Okay.
And so, but I've taken good care of them. I love them to death. And so now, having spent a lot of time with Kai and Cash, Praful's dogs, and as I do lots of testing with them, et cetera, I'll see Kai, who's very vocal. She'll start to vocalize.
I can send you Shiloh too. I can send you my dog, Max.
Yeah. She'll start to vocalize. I'll go, oh, okay, what's I'm unsure what's going on, right? And where I'll think, she's really agitated. I took away a toy. I did something wrong. But then I check it. She's actually playful. She just wants to go play, right? And then there's also the inverse, where it's like, oh, it's time to play, Kai. And it's like, actually, no, she's agitated. She wants to chill, or she's hungry, right? So just getting to kind of get those cues to go, oh, actually, so that you can start to, because, in studying behavior, human and dog behavior in the relationship between the two, right? What often can happen is you actually start to kind of go in circles with each other, where, you get anxious, so they get anxious, you get agitated, they get agitated, right? And so what we hope with, with our collar is that you'll get to be more cued into this and learn how to have a more sort of, relaxing and less anxious relationship with your loved one, because you actually understand what's going on.
And this is the device Max was trying to show. So yeah,
That's my next question.
We're gonna have this coming out in spring, summer next year.
Oh, it's coming out. And where people can find you?
It's with Sarama.com. We'll send it to you. It can be in the show notes as well, so people can click and they can do a pre-order right there.
We have some great little demos. They're perfect and they show it exactly. So we'll send those for you, and they're very short.
Let's take a look.
We can talk to dogs. No, really. This is Lingo, and you can pre-order it right now.
Hey, wait a minute. There's no such thing as a talking dog.
Dogs can sense our emotions incredibly. They know when we're sad, they know when we're anxious, yet when they need us, we're just confidently guessing.
That's why we built Lingo. It actually understands what they are feeling. We trained AI on thousands of hours of dog sounds, from barks, whines, even sighs. It can identify 4 core emotions: calm, agitated, lonely, and playful.
It also keeps an eye on their health, tracking heart rate and activity patterns. So those subtle changes you might miss, like sleeping more or playing less, Lingo notices and lets you know something might be up.
Lingo is the way that we understand our dogs together. Because after 10,000 years of loyalty, isn't it time that we understood their language as well?
So great. I love it. I need to get one, actually, for my dogs.
Yes. Yeah, and we're taking pre-orders. We're taking pre-orders right now, and we're also looking to work with a very select group of alpha users, so that we can. Because we have our chip, we have our collar, and we want to work with these beta users to learn more and have it in situation with in your household with your dog, and find out the experience of what that's like. And so we have about 10 right now that are getting deployed for Christmas time. So if you want to be one of those, come sign up and do a pre-order with us at with Sarama.com.
And so one of the things you see with the video that we put out is that some of these things, as Max was saying, is that we put the context like stranger danger and food. But one of the things that we are looking to do with this alpha user group is to expand the number of things people are recording, so that way we better understand the health cues as we talked about, but also how are dogs communicating in different households and what are they trying to express when they talk to us. And so we have the 10 coming out. There has been a delay from China, so we are trying to get it out for Christmas of this year. And then if not, definitely by the end of the year. And then we have the production units going out spring of next year. So yeah, that's the whole point, is like as you see the videos and you see how we're doing stuff, we want more and more of people participating in the research we're doing to better the lives of dogs and people everywhere.
Wow, that's amazing. Maximilian and Praful, I am just impressed. And I love so much this idea because we have like for people, we have for, people mental health, all these wonderful apps. But, I love that also we have for animals because we need that. They're our babies, right?
Yes, exactly.
They are part of the family. So
Yes.
thank you. So my last question, this is for both of you. Besides this beautiful, beautiful, really work you're doing with Sarama, what is your passion, Max?
Yes, so right now it's 3 core things:
Okay.
fitness, music, and meditation.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For food. I'm also I
Okay.
love to cook very much. Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah, these are the things that ground me into reality, that allow me to be so expressive with with my technology and my work. And yeah, especially the fitness one is a new one for me, and I recently just lost around 70 pounds. I've like totally reversed my health, and it's just been an extraordinary journey. I never felt more healthy in my life, and it's just been
Right.
just amazing, like the pure joy it comes from. So
Yeah, the balance between, also diet. We talk a lot about on Crave, diet and exercise is so important, also for your job.
yes, it is. Yeah, because you're often sitting. Yeah, the founder lifestyle is very unhealthy, right? And so I found that now, like, if you want to do this at the level that we're trying to do, you must take care of yourself. There is no excuse, right? So
Yeah, take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of other people. That's so
yes,
true, right? And what about
exactly.
you, Praful?
So it is animals in every form of it. So I'm a scuba diver, so I love going into the water and ocean. We have a bunch of fish as well. So anything to do with water and animals is like my thing. So at some point we will start doing our research again with orcas, which are the largest dolphins in the world,
Yes.
and expand on that. So yeah, I mean, I know it's a cop-out, but animals are everything for me. So if anywhere I can find them and interact with them, I try to do the best I can.
You are in the right place. We are going to support you 100%. I love animals. We love
Beautiful.
animals. That's amazing. So I can wait to have you back. And thank you so much for both of you.
Thank you so much.
you.
Yeah, next time we'll bring the collar and have your dog and go in studio with you.
I can
So,
wait.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This episode is brought to you by Alice Baker, where style meets elegance for every age and every occasion. Discover their beautiful collection at alicebakerin.com. At Crave Italy, we are an independent podcast dedicated to share stories, culture, tradition, innovation, and the beauty of our language. To continue growing and supporting our community, we rely on listeners like you. Even a small contribution help us welcome inspiring guests, celebrate our heritage, and create conversations that brings people together. You can support Crave Italy with a link or a QR code is on the screen. Thank you for helping us keeping the movement alive. Grazie di cuore. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us, and thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, and watch and listen to Crave Italy on your favorite podcast platform. Ci vediamo settimana prossima. Ciao a tutti!